Welcome back to the Ascari circuit in Spain, where BMW recently celebrated 25 years of M3 by letting us loose in pristine examples of all four generations of the car, including this one, the third member of the glorious M3 dynasty.
The third generation M3 was based on the E46 3 Series in coupe form only, and it was also the most popular M3 of its time, selling more than 80,000 units. Significant also about this car was that it was the last six-cylinder M3, and also that it spawned a car called the CSL, which many still believe is one of the greatest M3s ever.
The standard version wasn't too shabby either. The husky growl of the 3.2-litre straight-six engine is still as spine-tingling as ever, and the short, notchy action of the six-speed gearbox feels more race car than road model. The 252 kilowatts and 365 newton meters on tap are enough to slingshot you from corner to corner and to allow snappy acceleration. The E46 M3 completes the 0 to 100 dash in 5.2 seconds and is electronically limited to a 250 km/h top speed, although more than 270 km/h would be possible. Today, the E46 M3 still feels as fresh, as cut and thrust exciting as when it made its first appearance a decade ago. Like the E30, the precision, the tautness, the sheer shove of this car makes it utterly involving. The three generations of M3 we've sampled thus far have shown a clear progression in both performance and technology, and so it comes as no surprise that the current E92-based M3 is the quickest and most advanced version of all. It's also the first to get a high-revving V8. Its harsh, almost guttural battle cry adds a new dimension to the M3 driving experience. At 4 litres, it's a big motor, but it spins effortlessly to the 8,400 RPM limiter. Max power is pegged at 309 kilowatts, accompanied by 400 newton meters of twist, and there are lots of high-tech tricks. Electronic dampers allow the suspension settings to be adjusted on the fly. A sophisticated M-diff ensures optimum grip when slingshotting out of corners, and then there's the gearbox. The M dual-clutch transmission offers 7 speeds, all selected with precision and speed via shift paddles behind the steering wheel. In this M3, Ascari becomes a lot more challenging. The sheer velocity the car is capable of sharpens every curve, tightens every corner, and I was grateful for the vice-like bite of the big brake discs. This is pure M pleasure in its most concentrated form. Or is it? Having driven all 4 generations, it surely can't get any better. But it does. BMW has brought along 2 examples of what could become the ultimate road-going M3. It's called the GTS. If you think that the GTS is little more than an M3 with a fancy paint job and special wheels, think again. This is the M3 DNA served up in its rawest, most unrefined and most exhilarating form.
It's particularly apt that BMW is celebrating 25 years of the M3 with a very special car. Probably the ultimate M3 of all time. This particular unit has a bigger engine, more power, 330 kilowatt, 440 newton meters, does a top speed of 305 kilometers an hour and a 0 to 100 time of 4.4 seconds. The bad news is they're only building 150 of these. Of those, only 50 will be in right-hand drive, and none of these are coming to South Africa. So for us, that means this is the one and only opportunity to drive the most famous M3 of all.
On the track, the race-prioritized design of the GTS is immediately apparent. The steering is meaty, almost too heavy, until you get up to speed. Then it finds just the right balance between heft and crispness, allowing the car to be coaxed from apex to apex with clean precision. Throttle response is switch-like and acceleration instantaneous. There's a lot more grip from the 255/35 gumballs front and rear, while the stiffer suspension keeps the rubber planted to the tarmac more effectively. Body roll is completely absent, and lateral G-forces almost rival aerobatic standards. Compared to the normal M3, the GTS seems brutal and unpolished. The big wheels are finished in a bruised black, and a large adjustable wing has been bolted to the boot lid to provide vital downforce and tame the potentially errant rear. The interior has been stripped bare and framed by the painted tubing of a roll cage. 2 lightweight Recaro bucket seats are bolted to the floor, and the thick-rimmed steering wheel is dressed in grey, grippy Alcantara fabric. The instruments are standard M3, as are the shift paddles of the MDCT gearbox, but the dashboard is trimmed in real carbon fibre. It's all very clean, very functional, and race car-like enough to make you feel like a Webber, a Vettel, or a Hamilton. Under that bulging bonnet, the engine is still a V8, but capacity has been up to 4.4 litres, increasing output to 331 kilowatts and 440 newton meters. The MDCT gearbox remains standard, but with enhanced gearshift software. Overall weight has been slashed by 70 kgs, ensuring an impressive power-to-weight ratio. The M3 GTS is the kind of car that encourages you to go faster and faster and feels better and better every time you do. In absolute terms, its limits are set well beyond what the average enthusiast is likely to achieve, but it's also the most rewarding M3 to date.
BMW reckons it's dominated the supersport production car sector that it created for the last 25 years. And while Audi and Mercedes-Benz might beg to differ, certainly in terms of the latter part of the history, there's no doubt that BMW does know how to throw a party. It also has put together a collection of M cars that we probably will never ever see again, spanning 4 generations, all sorts of body shapes, at probably one of the finest circuits in the world. The experience has been absolutely wonderful, and all we can say is, here's to another 25 years of M3 cars.
With more power and less weight, plus revisions to suspension, brakes and gearbox, there's never been anything closer to a road-legal racing M3 than the GTS. The performance figures and chassis dynamics also make it the most rewarding M3 to date. All the more's the pity then that it won't be sold locally.